People like the top of down, no. People like the top of down, no. Hate being down this road. Sick of being down this road. How I'm supposed to be open.
How are you?
I'm as good as I can be, putting one foot in front of the other day by day and staying on the path that I've always said I was going to be on, and that's just creating and inspiring, and spreading my message the best way I know how, and that's through my art, through my words, and expressing it on wax.
It's a hard time to try to stay on one's path because there's a lot of distractions that are being, put in the way. And on a spiritual level, how do you stay in balance?
When things started getting complicated, at the beginning of the year, I think it hit people differently on different levels. Some people looked at it as a door closing, and I always try to find the light in the situation and always find the open door. And I think that's just really what I went for. When I saw the opening of time, I just wanted to do what I could do and start and not focus. I feel like everybody was focused on what we couldn't do. And I just wanted to focus on what it is that I could do at that time. I had so many plans for my album, beforehand, my debut album. And obviously things happened. But my engineer Tag, who I've been working with for almost 8 years now, like he said a phrase a long time ago that sticks with me all the time. I use all the time. It's like, I'd rather focus on solution rather than problem.
Yeah.
So anytime things get iffy, I get right to what I can do.
Yeah.
I make that happen.
That's what this whole project is all about. When I think about leadership, I don't think about someone who's like, oh, I'm a leader. When I think about leadership, I think about somebody who, exactly like you said, is just trying to make the best out of a complicated circumstance. And when I hear you speak, I hear a lot about process and being in the moment, but also living 20 years in the future. How do you balance that duality of being present in your current now, but also always planning and then learning from your past?
That's just having understanding that the now obviously shapes the future. Like the future, I'm never not focused on it. That's actually probably like what I live for. It's like what I live by is by the future. But obviously knowing that it's the actions that I take now that is what is going to shape that future. I cannot do something today that I planned on doing yesterday, and tomorrow the future may not look the same to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I can go ahead with that plan
Yeah.
that I said I was going to do yesterday
Yeah.
and do that today. And then tomorrow the future may seem brighter than yesterday.
Yeah.
Understanding that balance and understanding that what it is we do now is going to shape what tomorrow is makes a huge difference. An absolute difference. And just always doing, never hesitating, man. I feel like we sleep on ideas and things that we want to do all the time.
Yeah.
I don't like having an idea Monday and then I haven't made a move on it by Friday. It don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna have another idea on Sunday or the next Monday. So I like to keep it moving, and that's the stuff that pushes the culture for real. And that's action. Not even just like actually being in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Our art is our protest too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They see that,
Yeah.
we're in these communities and these things are happening, but like we are still finding light and we're still pushing to shape our tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And that's with our art. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, not just being out there physically, because I can do only what only what I know and say what I feel in the best way that I can. You know what I'm saying? But there's other people that are, using their voice much differently. I look at like Lance Jackson, you know what I'm saying, out of Brockton. Like, he's actively every single day using his voice, not even just his music, you know what I'm saying, to speak on these things, to help make sure that we're actually progressing. And so, the best way he knows how. I can only do the best way I know how.
Yeah. I feel like artistry, and you spoke on this too, as Black people, our artistry is very sacred. That's one way that we can reclaim our voices, but also establish our voices. And ironically, we are dismissed, yet we are the culture and we are the driving force of the culture. With your flows, and your melodies, is that for you like spirit, you know, like Holy Spirit moving in you, or is that just
Most
something?
certainly, most certainly.
That's what
The
I
songs
felt.
write themselves.
Yeah.
Things happen, especially in the song specifically "Broken." That's a part of trauma. There was a lot of things going on at that time. You know, I had lost a couple really close friends,
I'm sorry to hear
and
that.
you know, it was just like back to back, right after the other. And like I said, my music, my art is the best way I know to communicate my feelings. Sometimes that's the best therapy for me.
Absolutely.
And you know, I'll keep things bottled up for weeks until I finally get in front of the microphone. And literally, once I got the news, yeah, I just got right to it. So like I said, and the songs write themselves at that point. And the other song that was involved in trauma, that I recorded that song 10 years ago.
Wow.
That was a song from 2010, Heart to Heart, where I'm speaking on the same things. You know, and you know, Broken was a song I do 10 years later where I'm speaking on the same thing, how I'm sick of being down this road. So it's like, that was even why I called it trauma, because it's like me and a bunch of my peers, like when things got so ugly this year, that was our first realization that we were actually traumatized. A lot of us didn't even actually know. We just know that we were seeing a bunch of horrific things and it was staying in our memory. And we didn't know exactly what was going on with us. But we've been getting traumatized since kids. And it started a long, long time ago. And that's why even during the process of making trauma, like it was a very emotional process. First
I
figuring
felt that.
out
I felt a lot of emotion.
I didn't know even what I was gonna do at first. I didn't know what song I was gonna make or how I was gonna go about it. I went through a bunch of things.
Yeah.
But what I realized is that it was already written. I had already had it. I had spoken on these things a long time ago. And that's why I brought that song back to life 10 years later. You know, and then accompanying it with a song that I just wrote because it's a very traumatic experience. And for me and a lot of people that I love and know around my age, we're literally just realizing that. So that was a way for people that don't even know how to word it. I made trauma so that can always be around forever. You know, even if it didn't matter how good or bad it did, because no matter what, it's never gonna go anywhere. Anytime I'm feeling a certain way, anytime anybody's feeling a certain way, they can always go back to that, you know, to channel that.
And that's beautiful. You know, I really do feel like stuff like that is what artistry is all about. I think sometimes it's about using your resources and using your abilities to be able to structure someone else's mind, you know, and you said it well too. Sometimes you don't even know what you're going through. Something I always say is, you know, you can't intellectualize gunshots. You can't intellectualize certain things because you're too busy reacting to it. You can't always take the time to realize you're triggered because you're triggered and you're trying to overcome that. And I think a lot of white privilege is having the ability to think and to take a step back and then to go back into it and get to restructure it and then get to have a fourth chance, get to have a seventh chance, get to have the benefit of the doubt every single time. And as Black people, we don't have the benefit of the doubt. We don't even have a benefit. We just have our bodies and we have our souls. And I think that's, you know, what's so powerful about people like yourself. And I feel like that's, you know, why I see you as a leader in this community, because there's not a lot of people who always try to restructure things for other people's greater good, you know, so I respect that immensely, you know. And on a lighter note, what are some things that give you joy? What are some things that give you that light, that inspiration? What are the things that make you smile?
Good food makes me smile. Cooking good food makes me smile. I love watching good cartoons. Good cartoons is lit. I'm gonna even drop it, Steven Universe. If any of y'all have never seen it, y'all should definitely give it a chance. It's absolutely amazing. I've been watching it since 2013. It just ended earlier this year. And if you watch it literally like kind of explains like even why I am how I am. Like that show is nothing but based on just like really moving with love and forward driven. It's about like gems and stuff and like crystals. It's mad cool. This show's super cool.
I always like to ask people like what makes you smile, because I think everyone looks so beautiful when they smile, and I'm a very like loving person, and I always want to remind people that even if this world tries to take everything from you, you can always give yourself things, you know? And I just want to know, what are things that you want from your community? You know, if in a perfect world, if you could get certain things from your community, what would that look like?
I really love genuine love. I like organic love, you know, no matter how small or big the degree. That's probably the number one thing that makes me smile. Genuine love and energy. Friendships, I love being with my friends. I love seeing them. I love seeing them win. I like really love genuine happiness and joy. I love seeing other people happy for other people.
And I think that's a leadership quality. I
Absolutely.
think every good leader I've ever had the honor of observing, they really just like to see someone else smile, and that smile has nothing to do with their own bank account.
Absolutely not. I mean, because wealth has nothing to do with money. It's about investing in
and your
people.
own prosperity. Some people will only be happy for someone else if they're connected to that success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And investing in people, in relationships, that's when you're rich for real.
You seem like you'd be like a good friend. I feel like you're that friend who can be like, yo, like, it happened again.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. But I'm also that friend that's gonna keep it real with you too.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not really the one that's I wouldn't like allow you to continue to run in circles. Life's too short for that. You know?
Yeah. But that's part of being like a real friend. Never sugarcoat it.
And like everything's limited, bro. Like
nothing's
at least
free.
I believe so.
Nothing's free.
Our breaths are limited. Our words are limited. Days. So I don't like to waste any of that, man. I don't want to waste any of that. Doing something, saying something negative, something that's not benefiting my health. I just want to use my time to just progress. That's it. Peace, love, and progression.
Yeah.
Famous line of mine.
Peace, love, and progression. It's interesting because if you think about all those things, they all need the other one in order to balance out and to happen.
At least in an organic way, in a real way.
Right. That's deep too, though, if you think about it, because there are a lot of things that happen in a non-organic way. And I think that's kind of tying into what we're seeing right now. There's a lot of illusions, a lot of just games being played at our own expense, you know, and that's why it's very troubling to me personally when I see, you know, white media creating the narrative for Black people, because there are some Black people who have to answer to that.
Absolutely.
And so with your artistry and, you know, with your writing process, with your lyricism, how do you, you know, kind of reclaim your voice and take back your narrative, if you will?
I don't ever lose it. I'm always staying on it. My eyes never off the prize. At the end of the day, I'm always gonna be me, man. And not only am I gonna be me, I'm content with that. You know, I'm very content with the person that I am. I stand on the love that I gave to any individual, or the love that I put in to my music. I stand on that without any apologies or regrets. I'm always willing to be a student too. That's like one thing that you gotta stay humble and always know that you don't know everything, bro. Actually, you should know that we know nothing.
Yeah.
Like, keep it like that. Like, we don't know anything.
Yeah.
And every day, like, every day we're walking into a classroom, fam. And you need to be willing to be a student, man. And that's another way you're gonna progress. And that's how another way you become a higher self is knowing that you know nothing.
Yeah.
And always being ready to learn.
Yeah.
From anything or anyone.
With what you're saying too is be open. Like, be open.
Definitely.
Be open. I feel like life, I always say this to myself, I feel like life is a never-ending school presentation, and there's a different subject and there's a different teacher, and if you will, like the higher power is just the organizer, but it's not the punisher. It's just the distributor. And we as the individuals, or as the children, if you will, we get to just play in that, and we get to explore in that. And love is just the expression of better understanding how to facilitate that, and how to interpret that, and how to communicate within that. And that's why it hurts my heart to see people just move with so much hate, because it's hurting you to do what you do. And I wonder if people know that, and if people are ready to let it go, you know?
Like I said, you got to never keep your eyes off the prize. And all I can pray for and hope for is that by me doing that and continuing on that path and just leading with love, that's what will spread. You know? I can just only have faith in that.
Right.
I can hope that my message just touches one person at a time. You know, I can't like, you know, go to everybody's house
Right.
and go to everybody that I feel as though has hate in their heart. I can just
Right.
hope that they feel the love in mine,
Right.
and that it does something for them.
Right, right. And that's good advice, because I'm definitely an overthinker, and I would call myself an empath, and I know a lot of community members, we get very like down in the dumps, but I feel like your message is good too, because you're not responsible to live out other people's downfalls.
Right.
And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting off of you as well.
I mean, when does our bullshit stop?
Right.
It never does. So,
Right.
and nobody knows like the level of bullshit we're going through at any time. You know, some people are really well at masking, you know, what it is they're going through. Some people aren't.
Right.
Some people's language is different. You know?
Right.
Some people, they gotta disappear off the scene. You know, they go ghost for a little while. You know, to when they're going through things. Some people
balance
go
it.
out more, and then you know, then you think everything is really grand. You know, it's really not. And I think what we should really take from this year and all the things that we've seen and learned and experienced is that we really absolutely never know what anybody is going through or what they're battling internally. All the best thing you can do is stand on the love that you give and really just lead with that.
And that's brave. Like you're saying it very like, yeah, like, but that's very brave, and I'm sure that took a lot of pain and just a lot of sacrifice to reach that, because
Absolutely.
you know, it's one thing
And
to
discipline. you
yes
know.
yes
And it's
discipline.
never an easy process, but you got to be willing to do that though. You know, to take that time if you really care for yourself. You know, self-preservation is everything. So if you really care for yourself, you know, you start to take those baby steps, and it starts with baby steps. You know, it's never easy, so the baby steps first.
I feel so free, like just talking to you. It's just like, with progression and going back to your motto of peace, love, progression, I feel like another thing that's important too is, because with self-preservation, it comes about really like love spending time with yourself. Like I love hanging out with myself in a very non-egotistical way, and just the process of falling in love with myself, I've realized that would be my way of being able to fall in love with other people, because the deeper you can get into yourself, you know, the deeper you can get into other people.
Yes.
And we really are mirrors, but we also are completely our own individual selves. And, you know, just talking to you, I'm really impressed with your ability to move in that fluidity. Like when I talk to you, I can feel that you're definitely honoring my higher self, but then you're also honoring your higher self. And, you know, speaking to that, how did you get into the process of becoming, you know, spiritually aware, or getting into just owning your essence?
Spending a lot of time with myself. After a certain time, after when I lost my grandmother, and I was going and spending times up with like families' houses up in like New Hampshire, and just really getting away. I wasn't doing music for a while, and yeah, I met some really great people that introduced me to Nichiren Buddhism, that I started practicing in late 2015, maybe early 2016. I think late 2015. And
2015 was a very big conscious year.
Absolutely, and I really built on the concept of understanding that I was born with enlightenment, and that I don't need to go anywhere to find that, you know, besides tapping in and digging in to find it within myself, and knowing that I'm not the only one with it. We all have it. The only thing that I can do is spread mine, you know what I'm saying, to help other people illuminate theirs. So it's like, yeah, and I've really just have held that near and dear to me, and just really understanding myself. I think that gives me a really good understanding of perspective, because that's so huge in situations. I think people always skip that piece in situations, and that's why the outcome sometimes isn't as right as it should. When we're definitely going through things with people, no matter how small or big the quarrel, you need to understand the other person's perspective. So yeah, I still stay on that. I still stand on that. I still stand on that spirituality. I still
It shows.
I still like to go with my intuition. I think my intuition is incredibly strong.
Absolutely.
I think it's only at times when I've gone against it where things don't go that right for me. You know, the universe speaks to you in different ways.
Absolutely.
It speaks to everyone in different ways, and you have to understand that for your individual self.
Right.
And just live through that. You know, and I just try my best to do that daily. What people say, like everything happens for a reason, like yeah, it really does. I think a better way to say that is that, you know, your path is written out, you know, like and everybody's path is different, dude. And once you understand that, you know, it'll even help you move and progress better with self, you know. Perspective is really something.
Perspective is, I think, kind of what you were saying about trying to look at things from other people's perspectives. It's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice, you know.
Certainly.
Learning how to just not talk sometimes and just be present and observe someone else, that's a sacrifice. And everyone's not always, you know, willing to do that. How do you kind of quiet your mind to allow yourself to take in someone else's perspective? You said just really knowing yourself, really having
and I'm way more of a listener. I love to listen. Like that's how you learn. I think so many situations where people don't even know like how you know things, but it's like because I listen, and people do way more talking than listening, to the point where they don't even remember what they say. You know what I'm saying? When you do more of listening, it's more of an internal thing. You know, it really sticks more to the mental. But yeah, I like to be a sponge. I told you, I'm really a student. I like to take things in. Oh, and also, the biggest thing is like with my music. I don't think I will ever run out of things to talk about or create on. I relate everything back to the music. Everything gets related back to the music at every single second of the day.
That's
this
beautiful.
Conversation is alone is inspiring my next song. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whether it be something
Small.
you said, like it's always moving that way.
It's fluid. It's a part of you. It's essence.
Right. Things I go through with people, good, bad.
In between.
Writer's block, I don't really, I used to go through them really heavily.
Yeah.
Not so anymore. I really embrace them now.
Yeah.
Because it's now knowing that, okay, I clearly need to go through some experiences, or maybe I need to change something. I need to get uncomfortable, do something I haven't done in a while. Maybe I need to call a friend that I haven't seen in a long time and go hang with them. Maybe there's a conversation there or something that I need to resolve. Or maybe, and it doesn't even have to be a negative resolve. Just something that just needs to be resolved mentally, that was in my subconscious that I didn't know about, and that will spark something. And that happens all the time.
Right.
Whether it be a project, whether it be artwork, whether it be a song.
Right.
You know, and it usually always ends up being in songs.
Right. I feel like, because with me, like I love freestyling and I love words. Like a great sentence structure is something that just makes me feel safe. Like I feel like if you have the ability to really create your words, it can just unlock portals, because it's magic. It's just magic. Speaking is magic, and it's true. You can watch an environment and a space change based upon what you're saying, and I've witnessed it in real time. And so as an artist, you really make love to everything that you do, and that's why artists are so sensitive, and that's why when someone, you know, says they don't like your work, we take it so personal, because to someone who doesn't really do artistry, they just see it as like photography, or like, oh, you're just, my parents will always be like, oh, you're taking pictures again, and I'm like, I'm not just taking pictures, like this is like real art. But to them, they just see it as, you know, pictures or photos or just music, or you're just doing another show. But for me, I'm like, no, this is like my whole world. And so I really appreciated that piece of advice, and I think people will be able to definitely speak to that, because that's your spirit.
Most definitely.
It's soul work. It's really soul work. So when you connect with certain artists, that's like your souls merging and vibing. And that's why when I was listening to Trauma and I was hearing some of just the pockets of, like, sonically, some of the in and out pockets that you were doing and the in and out runs, I was just like, oh, like, that's his, like, spirit. Like, that, I was like, that's beautiful, because I could feel the pain. I could really feel the pain, but I could kind of feel like your inner child, like, picking you up and being like, it's okay, like, we're gonna get it, like, it's hard out here, but we're gonna get. And I thought that was beautiful to watch and experience. And so thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
This is a really great time.
Lift off, yeah. Finna take off to the moon. Link up, yeah. Finna call all of my goons. Blast off, we finna groove, baby. blast off, we finna groove, baby, yeah. Big star, I'm tryna run up the bill. Don't give a fuck how you feel. This shit I'm